His parents dropped him in a space wormhole to get rid of him. Kanata was raised by his strict and unloving father, a former professional athlete who rigorously trained his son to follow in his footsteps. Kanata's life changed when he met a teacher who showed him a world beyond sports. This teacher, with a warm heart and unwavering support, ignited a passion within Kanata to explore space. Finally, Kanata felt alive and true to himself. He and his 4 classmates joined their teacher on a camping trip. As they hiked up the mountain, the sky darkened, and a fierce storm rolled in. A sudden landslide struck, causing one of the students to slip dangerously close to the edge of a cliff. Their teacher lunged forward and saved the student, but in doing so, lost his own footing and began to fall. Desperate to save him, Kanata reached out, but he was still just a young weak boy. As the teacher dangled from the ledge, he mustered the last of his strength to give Kanata a piece of advice that would change his life forever. When things seem hopeless, act tough. With newfound determination, he led his friends for 7 days, driven by the desire to protect them until they found help. Years after, Kanata found himself assigned to be part of Team B5, a team of randomly selected students that will participate in a spatial school camping trip on another planet. After journeying for 4 hours, they finally reached the destined planet Mpa. Kanata took on the role of captain, urging his fellow students to follow him. However, they were captivated by a mysterious sphere and chose to ignore his instructions. One of the students reached out and touched the sphere, and was sucked inside. Recognizing the danger, Kanata quickly commanded everyone to reactivate their space helmets and run. But the sphere expanded and swallowed the entire group. They found themselves adrift in the emptiness of space, surrounded by nothing but a seemingly abandoned spaceship. As they managed to board the ship, they realized Ares was still outside. With their suits' fuel running dangerously low, they knew a rescue attempt would be risky. But the word hopeless only reminded Kanata of his teacher's final words, spurring him into action. With a rope, Kanata ventured into space to save Ares. He stretched out his arm, just inches from grasping her hand. But he was pulled back, the rope wasn't long enough. Desperate, Kanata summoned all his courage and released the rope, managing to catch Ares in his arms. The pair floated toward the ship, knowing they would miss it by mere inches. Just when hope seemed lost, their fellow students formed a human chain to pull them to safety. Back on the ship, they discovered they had been teleported to the far reaches of space. It would take 3 months to return, and they only have food and water for 3 days. Faced with this impossible situation, Kanata shared his camping story, inspiring the group to band together. The group introduces themselves, and Zack found 5 habitable planets where they could stop by to replenish their supplies before reaching their home planet. With renewed hope, they agreed to make Kanata their captain and named the ship Astra. Reaching their first planet, the crew of the Astra split into groups to search for food and water. They discovered unusual plants, such as trampoline trees and parachute plants. As they explored, the mysterious sphere reappeared, but this time the group manages to outrun it. Back on the Astra, tensions rose when Quittery fell into despair and lashed out at her fellow crew members, even cruelly mentioning to her sister, Funisha, that she was adopted. Quittery ran away, prompting the team to search for her. Zack shared that he and Quittery are childhood friends, and explained the complicated history between Funisha and Quittery's family. While searching, the crew found Funisha missing on top of a trampoline tree, which suddenly grew taller, trapping her up in the air. Suddenly, a winged beast appeared, circling Funisha menacingly. Kanata, driven by his protective instincts, sprinted and leaped from cliff to trampoline tree, making a series of nearly impossible jumps. Spotting the winged creature closing in on Funisha, Kanata hurled a javelin spear at the beast, vanquishing it. With Funisha now safe, Kanata jumped to her tree, but his strength gave out and he fell. Thinking quickly, Quittery released a parachute flower just in time to catch Kanata before he fell to the ground. Quittery apologized to the crew for her outburst. Feeling humbled by his own reckless actions, Kanata suggested he wasn't fit to be the team's captain and proposed that Charles take the lead. But Charles declined, insisting he could only serve as second-in-command to Kanata. The rest of the team agreed, reaffirming their trust in Kanata's leadership. After departing to the next planet, Zack pulled Kanata aside and shared a secret. The spaceship's communicator had been destroyed, and he believed the saboteur was one of the 9 members. Kanata tried to uncover the identity of the saboteur. However, with limited information about each crew member, he struggled to pinpoint the culprit. During their investigation, Funisha shared a mysterious memory. The mysterious man that had arranged her adoption into Quittery's family mentioned specifically placing her on B5 so they could all be eliminated. Kanata realized that they weren't randomly selected and that someone wanted them all dead. Their second stop didn't have many problems, and they gathered food and set out for the next planet. Upon arrival, they found themselves in an oceanic paradise with breathtaking landscapes. Luca attempted to get Ulgar to open up, but Ulgar was stunned to learn who was Luca's father. Later that evening, the group gathered for a picnic to celebrate their journey. Suddenly, Ulgar appeared wielding a real gun, aiming it at Luca's head. The shocked crew members couldn't believe Ulgar was the enemy they had been searching for all along. He declared that he wasn't a traitor and that his older brother was a journalist who had been murdered by Luca's father, a corrupt politician. He intended to kill Luca for revenge, seeing him as the heir to his father. However, Luca revealed that he wasn't his father's heir due to being born with both male and female biology. Furthermore, he had been disowned when his younger brother was born. Ulgar realized that both he and Luca were outcasts in their families and lowered his gun. Suddenly, a tsunami struck the island. The group managed to board the Astra safely, but Ulgar and Luca were swept away. Ulgar tried to sacrifice himself for Luca's safety, but Kanata heroically rescued them both. Leaving the planet, Ulgar apologized to Luca and vowed to return home to investigate his brother's death. Zack suggested that Ulgar's brother may have uncovered a deeper conspiracy than just corruption, which could also be linked to the reason why they are trying to kill them. Later, Ares and Charles engaged in conversation, but she noticed an inconsistency in his story regarding a biology class. The group confronted him and Charles confessed that, like Ares, he was a transfer student who had arrived after her. He hadn't mentioned it because he is the son of the king of Vixia. In the past, Charles had befriended a commoner girl named Syra and snuck her into the noble area. A guard caught Syra and pushed her off a building, causing her to fall into a coma. Syra's family eventually left Vixia, and Charles left too, swearing to learn biology and heal Syra someday. The group was touched by the story, and Charles noted that Ares reminded him of Syra. The group later arrived at the next planet. But a massive carnivorous plant attacked the ship, causing significant damage that made reaching space impossible. Zack informed them they lacked the parts and resources to fix the damage, so they'd have to accept living on the planet as their new home. Charles led a foraging party and discovered a second ship similar to the Astra. The group examined the ship, noticing it was heavily damaged and abandoned. To their surprise, Zack discovered someone had been preserved in the ship's hibernation pod for the past 12 years. They opened the pod to reveal a young woman inside. Upon waking up, the woman named Paulina introduced herself as an astronaut from the Ark 6. Her crew had made an emergency landing on the planet and her crew members went missing after exploring the area. So, she entered the hibernation pod, hoping someone would rescue her one day. Their mission had been to find suitable planets for human habitation. Then Ares had an idea: they could repair their ship using parts from the Ark 6. The crew didn't waste any time and fixed the ship. Meanwhile, Yunhua talked with Paulina and updated her on their situation. Paulina was delighted by the news of the ship's repair but was shocked to learn the current year is 2063. As the ship finally left the planet, Kanata suggested they have a party to celebrate. The conversation turned to Quittery mentioning the blood sample test results they had done to donate blood to Paulina. She found it strange that she and her adoptive sister had the same rare blood type. Paulina noted Quittery and Funisha looked alike as if they were twin sisters. Zack then decided to perform DNA tests on the two, and later unveiled the shocking results. Quittery and Funisha are the same person. After analyzing the information, Kanata realizes why they were sent to space. Everyone in Team B5 is a clone of their parents. Zack reveals that his father is a scientist who is researching a technology to transfer memories from one body to another, proving that their parents' sinister goal is to transfer their memories into a clone to live forever. Quittery broke down, realizing that their space trip was a cover-up to get rid of them so their parents wouldn't be arrested for illegal cloning. Refusing to let this revelation defeat them, Kanata delivered an inspiring speech that lifted everyone's spirits. Later, Zack and Quittery shared that they plan to get married someday and they throw a celebration party. Suddenly, an image of their home planet appeared on the bridge monitors. Paulina walked in, overjoyed to be returning home, but was left speechless when she realized that the planet wasn't Earth. But the group doesn't know what's Earth and reveal they're heading back to the planet Astra. Paulina and the crew compared their knowledge of their world's history, leaving her baffled by the false information. She shared that a massive asteroid would clash into Earth in 2057 and wipe out life. That prompted a planetary expedition to find new planets to inhabit. Interplanetary immigration seemed impossible, but artificial wormholes made it a reality, making all Astra inhabitants former Earthlings. The group compared the different year dates and their limited information, and concluded there was some hidden information. Later, Kanata pondered everything that had happened since they first encountered the wormhole, getting a lead on the traitor. He visited Ares, who had a photographic memory, to help him recall a clear image of the events. The crew reached the last planet before heading home, and they divided into groups. Kanata and Ares were paired, but when they separated, an artificial wormhole appeared and chased Kanata. He led it into a narrow cave, and the wormhole vanished once he reunited with Ares. The next day, Kanata revealed his encounter with the wormhole to Zack and Charles, and asked their help to catch the culprit, Ulgar. He explains that he already tampered Ulgar's gun, and they only need Charles to lead him into a cave where the three will confront him. Charles follows the instructions, but Kanata suddenly aborts the mission. Charles tries to leave, but Ulgar points his gun at him. He tries to shoot, but it proves to have been tampered. The two jump backward, and a wormhole appears in the middle of them. Kanata comes running and grabs the hand of the culprit, Charles. He takes out the device that controls the sphere, and everyone appears, revealing that Charles was the only one who didn't know about the plan. Cornered by his crew, Charles confessed his attempts to sabotage them and prevent them from returning home, revealing that he was a clone of King Noah. Charles explained that he stopped to kill them because he couldn't bear to harm Ares, whom he revealed to be Syra's clone. Syra was Noah's daughter and the princess of Vixia. He shared his true past, where Syra helped raise him but opposed the cloning project. Ares was born without her knowledge, and to protect her from a doomed fate, Syra had Ares' surrogate mother smuggle her out of Vixia to live a normal life. But Syra was later assassinated, and Charles felt that his mission to kill the clones was his only purpose in life. He claimed he wanted to take Ares back and make her Princess Syra, but Kanata, enraged, punched him. Feeling purposeless, Charles tried to end his life using another artificial wormhole, but Kanata leaped over it to save him. However, the wormhole moved towards them, and Kanata lost his right arm. Despite losing his arm, Kanata reassured everyone that he was fine. Charles then revealed the entire secret of Astra to the team. He explained that Earth indeed got hit by an asteroid and humans chose to relocate to a new planet, Astra. The wormhole created a link between the two planets, and war broke out as different nations fought over land on Astra. But the wormholes were misused as weapons, and a single world government was formed to bring peace. The migration had taken place 100 years ago, but humanity rewrote history by changing the timeline by setting the year 100 years into the past. The crew wanted to expose the truth when they returned, but they knew it could be dangerous. They decided to let Ares write a letter to her mother, who would send it to the government, exposing everything about history and cloning. Upon reaching Astra's orbit, they were greeted by the government, who informed them that their parents had been arrested. The students rejoiced and reminisced about the challenges they had faced. As they landed, the whole world questioned them, and they revealed the historical truth. The world was in turmoil, but it stopped when Kanata released his best-selling book about their space adventures. 7 years later, everyone followed their dreams, especially Kanata, who got a prosthetic arm and embarked on a new space adventure with Zack and Charles.